मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणि भगवती अष्टादशाध्यायिनी अम्बत्वां सन्ततामि भगवद्गीते अन्वेषिणि.
Arjava, na? We started.
Arjava.
Yeah.
Once again, Arjava, straightforwardness. Arjava comes from the word Rju, which means straight. When there is an alignment of thought, word and deed, this is Arjava. The action is in keeping with the word and the word with the thought. The alignment is only in this direction. I need not say...
Alignment is only in this direction.
Is only in this direction. I need not say or act upon every thought I have, but my actions must be consistent with my words.
Yeah, that is to see, that is why he says alignment is only in this direction. Whatever you act, should be keeping the word you thought, and it should be keeping the thought. But thoughts may be many, but you may choose to act only on that. It is not the reverse direction. The action has to be in keeping with the word and word in keeping with the thought. That is so that you don't apply it in the reverse direction. Yeah.
The alignment is only in this direction. I need not say or act upon every thought I have, but my actions must be consistent with my words and with my thoughts. This alignment is a value because with it there is freedom from conflict. Whenever I say one thing and do another, or think one thing and say another, there is a conflict within myself. This is called vakratva, crookedness. Arjava is its opposite. One aspect of it, satya, speaking truth, is considered to be such a great value that it is even mentioned in the Upanishads. I expect others to be truthful to me and I reciprocate. This is Arjava. Acharyopasana.
Acharya upasana.
Upasana. Service to the teacher. Acharya upasana is a very important value for a student. The word acharya means one who himself understands swayam acharati
and makes others understand
or follow anyan achareti.
Anyan achareti, others. Anyan achareti. So he follows whatever he says, and by his example he makes others follow. That is how a teacher should conduct himself. Yeah.
Suppose the teacher says that anger is an enemy to you, and yet he himself gets angry, then what he says would not carry weight with the student. He must understand what the Shruti says and follow through behavior so that not only by his words but by example he makes others understand and follow. During his period of study, the student resides with the teacher and as an expression of gratitude for the knowledge he is receiving, serves as teacher. This Gurukula Vasa, living in the family of the Guru, implies necessarily sharing whatever work that is there to be done. Let us see why this is a value. The Shruti is the Pramana, and between the Shruti and the student who wants to understand the Shruti is the teacher. He conveys the meaning of the Shruti sentences according to well-established methodology, Sampradaya, and without him, the Shruti cannot be properly understood. In fact, it is said that jnana without the Guru is never adequate for moksha, because it is not the Shruti that conveys but the Sampradaya. Without it, the sentences of the Shruti will seem contradictory. The words have to come from a person who sees what he talks. Then alone do they convey the meaning with such clarity that both the person and the words disappear. The meaning alone remains. While reading a book, however, you are operating the intellect as an agent, karta, yet it is this very karta that has to be sublated by knowledge. In the operation of
That is why, that is why the book, whatever subject, it also depends on the karta. In the sense, everyone can have a different meaning depending on what is his background and all that. Same science subject, or even the book, suppose for 10 years before you read, 10 years later you read, it makes a difference. Why? Because you have changed. It's not that the contents have remained. Your understanding. So, very important. Once the karta is involved, then depending on his capability, there is a saying, everyone knows only little more than what he already knows. He doesn't know suddenly rocket science. If he knows slightly less, then when rocket science is talked about, he will know rocket science. Otherwise, it will not make head or tail out of it, like Einstein's equation and all. Equation may be there, but what you know and what a physicist will know will be very different. So, there the karta makes the difference. Here, this understanding is the swarupa of the karta. In the sense, what is your reality is going to talk about. So, the karta per se has to be kept aside. If karta is kept aside, then who is going to listen? That is where the acharya steps in. His buddhi acts as your buddhi. And your buddhi is exposed to his buddhi, since he has got empathy and what he has understood from his karta is kept aside. His swarupa is talked about by the Shruti, through the teacher who has understood it. He is handing it over to the buddhi of the Shishya. That is why I have told you that Ratha Kalpana of Krishna. Buddhi, we have read it before also. Buddhim cha Saradim Vidhi. That your buddhi be the Sarati. Meaning, let it become Krishna. How it will become Krishna? Only when the Krishna's words gets into the buddhi unfiltered. So the karta should not be there. Even though questions may be asked, you may be there, putting yourself in the place, and all those other upakara, that is upaya may be there. But in terms of the actual teaching, your buddhi should be totally transparent, totally exposed to the Guru's buddhi. Then only it will happen. Because the swarupa of the karta is being scrutinized. The karta's identity is getting destroyed, meaning we are not accepting the karta is bhakta and I am so and so. All those things are kept aside for this understanding, because we have the reality. That is where the acharya is very important between the shruti and the your buddhi. So that is why acharya upasana. So that once that understanding is there, only that acharya upasana will come. That is why it is shown as a value here. For this particular understanding, acharya upasana is equally important value. That is what he is trying to say.
Swamiji, does age matter in this? And what you say, no? You put the karta aside and you take the acharya's. Is that does it correlate with age? Like I'm asking, Gurukulam. Age means if you are very young.
No. See, Gurukulam was what do you call it? The olden days. Even
I'm
then,
not talking about Gurukulam of olden days. Now also, if you are young, then your experiences, all that you will set them aside. Probably take the acharya into your mind. But when you grow older, I think more experiences, more.
Little more what do you call effort is needed. Abhyasa is needed. You have to. Listen, it all depends. It's all proportionate to what you are looking for. The value for this understanding is paramount. Then the age does not count. Because one more important thing is why age does not count is, it is what is already, it is not that, like for example, if it is suppose it is a car knowledge, you have to know the science behind it, plus every part and other thing, there should be memory involved, there will be, so not only the logic or the understanding of car functioning and all that, but also what is the part pala vritti vyapti and pala vyapti, both are required. Listen, you have to understand the parts. So many things are involved. That is where age counts. Whereas in this particular case, it is only purely, there is no pala vyapti. There is no object for you to imagine, visualize, keep in mind, memory, pratyabhijna and all that is not there. You just have to zero in on the understanding that it is purely that is coming from the words of the Guru or the book, the Shruti, which is able to negate all your wrong notions about your own understanding of your reality. Then once the wrong notions are removed, automatically you are already there. You are already there, you just have to be alive to that. So for that, age may not be a great impediment. But in terms of sitting and having this, what we have discussed, the alertness of the mind and also a samadhanam, chitta samadhanam. Actually, some places Swamiji used to say, samadhanam, chitta samadhanam will be more easier for the elders. Why? Because you would have already a sense of fulfillment, a sense of contentment by living a life of doing good karma, helping people, having achieved something in life, or some profession, whatever and all that. Because of that, a certain contentment may be there, which will help you in chitta samadhana, chitta prasannata, a cheerful disposition, number one. Number two, a certain space is required. Samadhana means a space is required between you and the mind. The mind will keep on chattering. But at if you have lived a proper life, the chattering can be kept aside. Because, okay, whatever my responsibilities and all I have done, okay, now I have got a sense of samadhana, a sense of contentment. I have done whatever I am supposed to do. So I can take the liberty of keeping myself free for my own. Every day, sometime, or every week, sometime, and all that. So the samadhana may be there. So the space between your mind and yourself will be there. Therein, these values are more easily absorbable. Because these are all values not to help you in your vivahara. This is to help you in having a chitta samadhi, a central, what we have been talking about, an infrastructure, wherein there is a space between you and what is your thought and all that. So you are able to, there is a space between you and your thoughts. Out of 10 thoughts that occur, what is important, 1 or 2 thoughts only you will act upon. Others will just allow it to go. That will go only when you are aware of the thoughts. You must have the space inside where you understand. As the thoughts arise, you understand, these thoughts are coming. Okay, these are all not relevant. I don't have to worry about it. Come on, just leave it. If you don't pay attention, automatically they will come and go. The Prajahati Yatha Kama we have said, no, in the second chapter. Those things are possible for an elder. So, in this particular case, certain amount of maturity, certain amount of elderliness, maybe if the life has gone in a proper dharmic and contributory way, either in professionally, personally, family-wise, you have been living a contributory living, a dharmic living, so that it is more likely that you will be able to get the chitta samadhana. So age, in that case, I would say age may be a helpful factor. And only that in terms of you may feel that, okay, so much of Sanskrit is involved. No, not necessary. If you understand it properly, now see what we have been discussing, the whole book also, and myself talking also, majority we are communicating in English only. Or sometimes Tamil, whatever language. So language is not a big issue. Language may be an issue if you are going through the, all text, Vedanta text, in terms of Prasthanatraya, Gita, Upanishads and all that, Sarvam, Bhashya and all that. There, for you to be a teacher, you must have a, Panini in your belt, under your belt. Then only, because somebody asks some question, you will be able to explain. Whereas otherwise, for understanding, for making it the vision transfer, in terms of understanding the Swarupa, that our reality is Atma, Ishvara's reality is Atma, Brahma Atma, and there is an identity. Because it's how there's a Kala Vastu of Parikshan, is always Sat, Chit, Ananta. All these things are easily understandable if you have the right frame of mind. We are trying to create the frame of mind by developing these qualities. See, these qualities, when we are discussing, after having an interest in the subject matter, yes, I want to know, I want to understand life, then I have got a karma yoga buddhi, in the sense, I want to make my life, whatever actions or whatever life I am leading, I must be able to have a certain balance where I don't get knocked off time and again, either good or bad. Something good comes, I hit the ceiling. Something bad comes, I get depressed. That way, we will not be able to have a balance of mind. So, to avoid all those things, we are going through this. So, these values help to have a balance. Whether someone hurts you, or whether you are in a position to hurt or benefit somebody, either way, you have to be alert. Ahimsa, Shanti. That is why the pairing is always there. Adam amanitvam, adambitvam. Okay, you get respect, fine. If you don't get respect, don't boast yourself. Adambitvam. So amanitvam, adambitvam. Ahimsa, Shanti. Like that, the pairing, so that you are able to keep a middle path. Don't go overboard. Just keep a middle path and keep a balance of mind. Keep alert. Keep have a sense of contentment, so that you are able to have a space between you and what is happening in your mind. So mostly, if you are able to have a handle on your mind, then this study and this understanding will sink in faster, because you will, since your mind is, you are able to handle it, then what is left over is only you. And that you, the Swarupa, is the being only. Because everything, mind is not there, body is not the issue, but mind is not the issue. What is left over? Only you. A you without body, mind, senses, what is you? It is only Desa Kala Vastu Parichinnam. Cannot be, because no object. All objects are involving body, mind, senses. Your own body, mind, senses in the world. It is nothing but a replica. Your body, mind, senses are a representative of the world outside. Because they are also nothing but world. They are also body, mind, senses only. So your body, mind, senses are a representative. If you are able to have a handle on that, automatically what is left over is only you. What if I am not body, my mind and senses? What am I? So then the Shruti helps. Then the Acharya helps. Then one day you have a Shraddha in what he says, and since he is living it that way, he also lives it that way. He is also like us, he also lives it that way. Then you understand, yeah, correct. I am able to appreciate how he lives. I am able to. That is why the Upasanam, Acharya Upasanam meaning Upasamipe Asanam. Upasanam means what? Upa means near. Asanam means being. Very closely observing how the Acharya is. Then you can imbibe it. And you are ready for it. By these values, you are ready for it. That is why Acharya Upasana. Yeah.
Swamiji, this Arjava straightforward.
Alignment between thought, word and deed. Yeah.
Now, should it be done in all walks of life, or only in certain areas and certain places where you cannot do that, because if it is in the commercial or official business, you may not be able to do it. So what does it really mean? I'm not clear.
No. See, commercial places and all that, even there, you have a certain role to play. Okay, there is an action expected. So naturally your words have to be aligned with the action. Otherwise, even the other person, commercially also, practically also, anywhere, unless your words back up your action, it will not go to the other person to whom you are communicating, whether it is a boss or a subordinate, either way. So word and action have to match. Now only question is your thought. Okay, so the action what you are doing, suppose, for example, even in a commercial situation, you have got a product feature is there, benefit is there, and you are trying to sell to your supplier or customer, and you find that there can be some problem with some of your parts, which you know, in thought level you know, but you have to sell to your customer, you may not be able to go out and tell what are the pluses and what are the minuses of my supply or my product. Okay, the person who makes the product knows how much of it is plus, how much of it is minus, benefit part of it. So you may not be able to, you will have to only tell the positive things and some. But in your mind you will have certain negativities and all that. But even there, even though I am now, because I am representing this company, I am trying to give the positive aspects of it, and I know there is a negative aspect of it. When it comes to the later, when the product is sold and the supplier really faces the negative aspect of it, which you have not told him, at that time you must be honest enough. You must have the origin, yes, correct, this may be a problem, we will rectify it for you. Even though at the time of selling you may not tell, because you may feel that hey, the probability of that defect coming into play is very less. That is our research. And all those things you know. So that is why he says, every thought need not be acted upon. But what you act upon should be aligned with your word and should be alignment with your thought. In the sense, you will know much more about your product, what the customer will know. So you need not tell everything about the product to the customer because it is, as you say, it may not be commercially viable. Because everyone's product will have some pluses and some minuses. So all these situations, I am only taking an example. It may be different for different situations. But there is always a possibility of being aligned. Even when there's a complaint comes, you must be forthright enough to accept it and do something about it. And tell your own company, yes, there was a problem, which always our research people also have told this can happen once in a blue moon. At that time, you may have to you have to accept it and we cannot camouflage it. We cannot push it under the carpet. That sort of you must have that arjavam to tell your management at that time. Even when there's a problem told by the customer, you must be able to attend to it. That is also good management. So I think nothing good in commercial or otherwise can be deceptive. If you are really good in your job or anything, you must be able to maintain the target. That is my reading. Even though not everything, that is why not everything you know, you don't have to display. But what you display should be true and should act on it, and there is something unforeseen happens, you must be able to act on it again at that time. So the certain amount of arjava is possible. It may not be 100% with reference to this knowledge. What sort of an arjava? Because here we have nothing at stake. As I told you, palavyapti is not there. There is no question of this product, this Atma may be okay, that Atma may not be okay. No, there is only one Atma, that is Brahma Atma, that is Desa Kala Vastu Aparichinnam. It can be handed over. This knowledge alone can be called knowledge. Epistemology says, Abhaditam Satyam. A knowledge can be called knowledge only when it cannot be improved upon, when it cannot be negated, when it cannot be declined. If that is the yardstick you apply to any knowledge, this is the only knowledge that can be called knowledge. Atma Jnanam alone can be called knowledge. Everything else is within a paradigm, within a standard procedure, within the standard conditions and conditions apply. That is why we say always, all products, conditions apply. Disclaimer, both are put in very small letters so that the user doesn't understand. So these are all there, but this is the only thing it is about. So in all practical life and all also it's possible, but you have to be alert to that. Again, you have to be alert to that. And your own, your own ambition or greed should not overpower your value. That means you are not handling your own mind. The mind overpowers, your own greed overpowers. And greed, mind and all that, that's all excuse. Actually, you are allowing yourself to be overpowered. That means you are losing yourself to the mind. The mind is only an excuse. Mind is supposed to be an instrument. Actually, it is not even really an object. Mind is not even an object. Mind is, whenever a vritti comes, only there is a mind. Otherwise, there is no mind. Just brain cells are there, that's all. There is nothing called mind. You are using the mind appropriately. When you are studying science, your mind will have science thoughts. When you have this particular scriptural thoughts. When you are doing some prayer, karma. So mind comes up, like even an object, what they call, the object-oriented languages, oracle. An object is just a program. It comes alive when that program is used. Otherwise, it is not there. It is not sitting there or something. The same way, our mind also is not sitting there. Only brain cells are there. So it's up to us to have the mind that is conducive to what we want to pursue. So that you don't give a yathartham or give a reality to your mind, it does not exist. Only you exist as a reality. So those are all, in the sense, once you have a clarity in all those things, Even in Vyavahara, you can avoid certain things, you can pursue certain things. Make yourself make your mind less cluttered, there's no conflict. Once you reduce this conflict, your tranquility improves. And once the tranquility improves, when the Shastra comes and tells tranquility is your nature, you will be able to own it up. Otherwise, your reality will be one thing and your own, you are living a world which is totally different. Then the bridging is very difficult. You have to bring it closer. That is why all these values are talked about. These values alone will only give you a infrastructure wherein you can understand and own up what the Shastra talks about. It is not absolute terms, it's only relative. As you said, it is only relative. In different situations, different relative things will be there. But as far as possible, must be aligned. The thought, word and deeds, then the conflict will be less. Then the mind will be less cluttered, so you'll be able to concentrate on what you are doing. Even in professionally, you'll be able to concentrate better. But the job at hand, you'll be able to put your mind totally. Otherwise, you'll always be worrying what my boss is thinking, what my customer is thinking all the time. So you'll not be able to concentrate on your job. Give full value. So it is useful there relatively, but in this particular case, absolutely useful because we are talking about absolute. Yeah.
An implicit trust in the teacher is required.
ಇಲ್ಲ ಇದು ಪಡಿಗಿಲ್ಲ the operation of Shruti
In the
Pramana.
operation of Shruti Pramana, you are not the Karta or even the listener.
Listener.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was telling. Yeah.
It operates like the eyes. If they are open and there is adequate light and an object without any will or sense of individuality, you will see the object. There is only Pramana and the object. Will does not enter into it. All the senses operate similarly, and even in interference, once the inference, once the invariable concomitance is there, the conclusion takes place immediately. If you go outside and find water everywhere, you understand at once that it has rained. This is how a means of knowledge operates. Shruti is also a pramana, but it does not really convey unless it is handled by someone who knows the sampradaya. An implicit trust in the teacher is required because when you are listening with Shraddha, your ahankara is under check. If the teacher knows...
In the example what they gave, if you go outside and find water very well, you understand once that there is rain. Because the inference is based on what you see. The pratyaksha pramana of water helps you to infer that it must have rained. So, in all other knowledge, like pratyaksham, inference, science, everywhere, there is empiricality. There is something to look at. A pratyaksham, on the basis of it, you are able to infer. Whereas, in this particular pramana, what you are talking, there is not going to be, you will never be able to see Atma. Neither the teacher nor you. So, there is not a pratyaksham is not possible. That is why all those pancha pramanas have been knocked out. So now what is the pramana is only the Shruti. And Shruti pramana, Shastra, through the teacher, it comes to you. So teacher must have seen the pramana as he sees, without even any pratyaksham and all that. He must have seen the truth himself, as himself. Then only you will be able to convey to the student that the reality. So that is why it is equally important that the Acharya must have understood the whole thing and he must be able to hand it over fully to the student. Yeah.
If the teacher knows what he is talking about, there is no possibility of him having ahankara, so there is no interference in the operation of the pramana. Ahankara remains only until you start inquiring. The moment you turn your attention towards it, it disappears. What is the ahankara here?
He has mentioned, no, just read the next. Like the
uninvited guest at a marriage feast.
Which you have discussed. I have always told you that. The uninvited guest in marriage feast. Since ahankara does not have a reality. It does not have a reality at all. Till the time you understand that you are the awareful being, aham. Aham, once you have an understanding, even a relative understanding that aham is the awareful being, because of which I am able to see the mind, because of which I am able to see the thoughts. And like that, when you see, the ahankara, what power it will have? Ahankara has got a role till the time you don't have an inkling about what is aham. Ahankara means what? That I am identified with my body, I am identified with my senses, I am identified with my emotions, I am identified with my relations. So what the relations, the emotions, the qualification, the personality, the social status, all that determine what I am. That is called ahankara. Because you are pepped up by the props that you have in life. Like as I was telling, if you have the child is playing the role of a Cinderella in a drama, so generally it is given a wing. A wing is attached to the child. Yeah. So that when it goes on the stage, it feels like that it's an angel. Then it behaves like an angel. If you don't put that prop and just send her with some words and go behave like an angel, you find it difficult because it doesn't feel it. In the same way in our life, we have added all these props, name onwards, qualification, age, social status, etc. All are props which has propped up an ahankara. This is an identity, a personality with which you relate to the world. Why it is required? Because unless you understand what is your reality, unless you understand, first you have to inquire that is there a reality behind all this? Or am I just what my personality is? If I am only my personality, if that is the reality, you are stuck with it anyway. So everyone will be different. Somebody will be more, somebody will be less. A person more will die as more, a person less will die as less. In the sense, he will die meaning he will have to own up. You have to, most people live like that only. This is our life. So we all keep telling us because we are not alert to the truth. Once when you inquire into the truth, you will be able to drop all these props one by one. And the reality is blessing. Fortunately, in this case, the reality is blessing because reality is infinity or absolute or one with Ishvara. So if you look at this fundamentally, you are a complete person, you are not lack of the Chaitanyam is your Sarupam, you are timeless, spaceless, you are the being and all. So none of the Avayava Kai Kutta Kal Natta, there is no question of your Avayava describing you because there is no Avayava, there is no object. So that is your reality. There is no hesitation in owning it up. But you must have a inkling in that. You must have, that I don't know, I must first understand. Then I must really understand, then I must be exposed to what it can be. Then there is a general understanding. Then you go for it. When you go for it, the ahankara will go away like an uninvited guest. Then you will understand that I have no place. I am not going to be given the importance. So it's a propped up thing. So the props will come out. So that is how Ahankara cannot be just by will. I will not have ahankara. No, it doesn't work that way. You must have a greater, more emancipating value in your life. Then automatically what is less emancipating or is not desirable will automatically fall off. That is what is called, Swamiji always to say, Vairagyam. Kuppa mela vairagyam avasyam illa. Once you know it is kuppa, that is enough. See, Viveka is important. So our Vairagya is based on Viveka, not on Maratu Vairagya. You have a value for it and you cannot have a Vairagya. You will feel suffer. You will suffer. Now, because of Vairagya, you will suffer. Because you still have a value for it. So that way, you must be able to lose the value of it because of your value for something higher, more elevating in life. So that is why the mumukshutvam, only a mumukshu can be a karma yogi. So Viveka alone can lead it to Vairagya. Hetu hetumat bhava, that's what we have discussed before also. Hetu hetumat, Viveka is the reason. Vairagya is a phalam. Hetu and hetu. It cannot be ulta. You just cannot. That is what is called yoga, the Hatha yoga and all that. They try to make potential yoga and Vairagya. Just remove chitta vritti nirodha. Remove all the thoughts from your mind. Remove the last thought from your mind. Remain blank. That is your reality. But Before removing all the thought, you must have something more valuable for you, no? Till now you have lived with your thoughts only all the time. So unless something more emancipating value is there, why you will live your thoughts? So that is why this understanding that apārtata jnanam, the introduction, the inquiry, what I want to know in life, all these have to precede all these values. That is why it's taken in the 13th chapter. Because it is assumed you already have a value for your reality, Ishvara's reality. Now you are looking for identity. When that is that is where you are perching yourself, then these things do not really matter. So now from on, what you will do is, you will play the mind in such a way that it doesn't disturb you. So all values you see, they are all told in a way in which they are complementary. Like you have Viveka, you will have Vairagya, you will have Amanitvam, then you will have Adambitvam, you have a value for Ahimsa. So by following Ahimsa and Shanti, you will be always in a balance of mind. You will not hurt others and others cannot hurt you because you have got Shanti. So, okay, whatever happens, you will not hurt others and you will not be hurt. So when you are in a position where you are not having a hurt or guilt because of your own omission and commission, hurt because of others' omission and commission towards you, both are neutralized. So when you are not having any of those problems, your mind will be in samadhana. When the samadhana buddhi, with that when Bhagavan says, you are Purnam, you are the awareful being, your reality and life is one and the same. You will be in a position to accept it. Then you will file a further inquiry. How it is possible? I have got, then you will find out what are all your limitations are not the limitations of yourself, it is a limitation of your body, mind, senses. So Bhagavan also has got so many bodies and minds and senses. Their limitations, he doesn't think it is his limitation. It is part of that Vishwarupa. So he is able to samadhana. That can happen only when the reality of both is one and the same. And the reality has to be one and the same. There cannot be a second reality which is Desa Kala Vastu Aparichin. Logically also it's not possible. When one is timeless, singularity, generally there's even in law and science, singularity cannot be asked questions like when, how, what and all. But there's only singularity. When and how, time and space comes after. Before the creation, there is no question of when and what and all. When and what, time and space itself is going to come later. So in singularity there cannot be question. So in your reality there cannot be any question. So when that is very, very powerfully focused in your under attention, then all these values are meaningful to you. Then you will not, you find it, yes, you will gladly accept, this is how I have to go about the balanced life. This is how I have to take every day, every moment in life. Wherever there is a balance lacking, you will bring the balance by compensating. Pratipaksha bhavana. Like, okay, when somebody tries to hurt you, no, it's his problem. Why? Because of his problem, I should get hurt. It's a bad bargain. So I have to understand him. Okay, when he's trying to hurt, try to understand him, what's the bad background, why. You pay attention to his own words and actions. Then you will not, you will not be drawing your attention to the hurt. Actually, the hurt they are feeling because you are concentrating on what he is talking, what he is doing. You will find out why he is doing what he is doing, what is his problem. So you will be concentrating on that. So that he is trying to hurt you, it will be totally out of focus as far as you are concerned. So that way you automatically get immune to the hurt or the insult or whatever you call it. Then you concentrate. Then you will be able to pick up something from what he says, what really hurts him. If you can do something about it, you will do. So it's all, because your focus is not my personality is being hurt by that personality. Because your personality is ego and all uninvited guests. So your reality, now you are focused on holding up a reality which is the truth of life, which cannot be improved upon, cannot be negated. Once I am able to zero in on that, so then when that is that, our goals are lofty, all these values will fall in place. Yeah.
Actually, the Shanti we discussed, we read Swamiji, even Pujasi talks about the doctor treating the patient, like just now you said focus. He is not bothered about the things he says or anything. His focus is only on his disease.
Yeah, definitely. Actually, Indian doctors that way, they all say, America, they are worried about your psychological set. Because you may not go, they are worried without treating you, you should not go out and sue the company or the doctor. So they are psychologically brainwashing you rather than really attending to your disease. Here in India, we are not really bothered about the emotion of that because it has been like that. Right from beginning, our doctor's role is just to, he is only looking at the disease, not even the person.
Yes, yes.
He is looking at the disease and acting on it.
Yes,
Yeah,
that is true.
that is the real focus.
Yeah.
So all these things are there. Fortunately, it is all there in our culture and it's all based on this only. The whole thing is based from here it has come, all these things. But since we have lost touch with this, all those things, we are trying to ape first. Oh, அங்க வந்து அப்படி இருக்க டாக்டர்னா அவனோட பேக்ரவுண்டு ஃபேமிலி பேக்ரவுண்ட்லேருந்து ஆரம்பிச்சு எல்லாம் தெரிஞ்சு எல்லாத்துக்கும் அவன் கைது வாங்கிட்டு தான் அவன்கிட்ட பை த டைம் த ஃபெலோ வில் பி ஹாப்பியஸ். All those things are problem. Yeah.
And the first line, this para, implicit trust in the teacher is required. Because when you are listening with Shraddha, your ahankara is under check. That means, see, when we get, even if we get some questions in the mind, if you have implicit trust in the teacher, it should vanish. That's what it means.
Yeah, that is why the example given is eyes. Eyes, no? See, that is why the Shraddha in your eyes is so much that even when a sadhu, suppose I show this and say this is an apple, even though you got respect for me, will you accept?
No.
No, because you got greater Shraddha in your eyes than in me. That is how the same Shraddha you must be able to show to the teaching and the teacher. Because here you have got the Shraddha, your eyes see the thing and you here we are dealing with something which you have not seen, which I have not seen. The Palavyapti is not there. But at the same time, he is explaining through the same words and make you understand that what is not you. And what is not you is explained thoroughly one by one. And what is you is what we have been discussing, that Desa Kala Vastu Aparichinnam, meaning the timeless, spaceless being, which is not even an object, because we have found the limitation of the time-wise, space-wise bound object, right from our body, mind, senses, emotions, world objects, science, everywhere we find in all our day-to-day life, we find there is a limitation. Everything is bound by time and space and this thing, even though temporarily I like this, after 1 year I won't like this. Or in a car, maybe after 10 years I won't like this. A house, maybe after 20 years I won't like this. So everything is time bound, space bound. So we know that nothing gives us absolute happiness. But what we are intrinsically looking for in life is absolute happiness. Because if temporary happiness should satisfy you, then Ambani should be the happiest person. It is not. He is looking at somebody else when he goes to Gulf and is handshaking with Sheikh and all. Why? Because he wants to grow further. Because nothing, all these are limited by time and space and your own value system and all that. Whereas, why you are not happy? Because you are looking for absolute happiness in life, which you don't know. You think, because since you don't know, you keep on adding. Anything and everything what you have, you keep on adding, hoping that someday or other I will be satisfied. No. Or you will reconcile yourself, okay, I am doing my job well, whatever comes on, Bhagavan will take care. Okay, I am happy. I am better than many others. Positive thinking. Okay, Ambani may say I am better than my brother when he goes to sleep. So it's all relative. It's all relative. It will hold you for some time. That all that pleasure will hold you for some time only. Whereas, why? Because absolute happiness is your reality. Unless you are honing in on your reality, you are not going to be satisfied in life. And this is what we are talking about, is our reality. Once you get a hang of it, once you understand it, then only you can feel, and then only is abaditam satyam. it need not be improved upon, it will not get negated, it will not get destroyed, because nothing. Desa kala vastu aparichinnam, who can improve upon it, who can decimate it, or who can reduce it? That is our reality, and that is the reality of Ishvara, that is the reality of the world. When it comes to the world, why it is appearing like this? Because it is the reality is Vibhuti. Like as I have always told, Anurvananiya, Mahatomaniya. The smaller than the smallest and the bigger than the biggest will explode like this only, the world. And it will have all its props and other things. Because it is so, the Chaitanyam, the knowledge personified is so powerful, it is constructing the world. Panchabhutam, Panchapramana, and all those products appear like the tell is a pandal of realities. It will remain, to hold. Bhagavan's blood. Gettikaran in Pulugu. So it will hold water for your lifetime and my lifetime. But nevertheless, it's a Pulugu. And the reality is what? The being. So that is what? All the time you must be able to connect. And see, then only you will have a Shraddha. Then only that, as you said, the Shraddha will prove. That Shraddha will be this. See, we are honing in on the reality, which is absolute. That will hold your Shraddha, the teaching. And that is how the teacher has to convey. And then the teaching and the teacher, that is why Shastra, Acharya, Upadesa, always, you look at any Pramana, any Shankara Bhashya, we will always talk about not only Shastra, or not only Acharya, or not only Upadesa. You will say Shastra, Acharya, Upadesena. All the three have to, this is the alignment. This is the only alignment possible with this knowledge. Because the Karta is kept out. The fellow who is going to learn is kept aside for the time being. Because that fellow is available only for Vyavahara. So he is kept aside and the teaching goes on. The buddhi of the teacher, the Shruti and the buddhi of the student all get aligned. And the teaching happens just like that. Because there is nothing, there is no object. It is just a question of understanding. And the understanding comes by, okay, not anything other than this is not knowledge, this is only understanding. That is just like that, easy. Much more easily than any other knowledge. Where you don't need empirical data. It is your reality. You are the data. So that is a beauty, yeah.
Ahankara remains only until you start inquiring. The moment you turn your attention towards it, it disappears, like the uninvited guest at the marriage feast. He will last only as long as no one inquires into his identity. The body does not feel, I am the Atma, nor do the sense organs or the mind, all of which are means of knowledge. Atma is pure Chaitanya, so what is this Ahankara? The moment you start the inquiry, the first casualty is the inquirer. While listening, the Ahankara does not interfere. The Pramana operates to negate its reality. The capacity to listen like this is established by Shraddha in the Shastra and the teacher. That keeps the Ahankara suspended for the time being, which is essential because it has no role to play here. Ahankara has a function only when a karma is to be done, but if it interferes here, where it has no role, it vitiates the operation of this pramana. The atmosphere wherein the Ahankara can be kept suspended is provided by Shraddha. If the Ahankara,
all these I have discussed. All these things I have told right now.
If the Ahankara is operating, we only understand what we really know.
Already know.
What we already know, not what the pramana has to offer. Shraddha must be cultivated here because this is a pramana coming from outside. Unlike a pramana that is with you, in which you have an intrinsic Shraddha, when you see a form, you do not question the validity of your eyes as a means of knowledge to see. Even if the form you see is distorted, you understand that some correction is required, but still you know that the eyes are means for seeing. Just because you see a distorted image with your eyes does not mean you will then try to see it with your ears. your complete Shraddha in your eyes as a means for seeing.
Vedanta is a pramana, and in order for it to work, you require exactly as much Shraddha as you have in your eyes. In fact, it goes one step further. Your eyes, even without being defective, can misinterpret situations. They see a blue sky which is not there at all, or they can fail to see things like microbes due to their own inherent limitations. But Vedanta, because it reveals the Vastu that is not subject to negation, is a pramana that deserves absolute Shraddha.
So this is what I was telling. See, it becomes much more easier. Here you are not looking at a palavyapti, like a object, dimensions and all. Your eyes should be okay, the light should be okay. Then only even though you see something, you will not, unless the palavyapti will not be 100% when all other factors cooperate, only it will happen.
Yes.
Whereas in our case, you don't need any. Once you understand your reality, you don't need a light to see what Atma is. So, Paravyapti is not there. You just have to understand. That way the Shraddha can be, once you understand this is the focus of our understanding, your Shraddha will grow manifold. Because you know that you will get it, zero in on 100% without any distortion. Our understanding of Atma and the Swarupa will be 100%, and that itself will bring in the Shraddha. But that much of inkling you must be able to get it as you approach further and further to the scriptures. Then the Gita, as we complete, we must have the total Shraddha. That will, and then it is cakewalk. Yeah.
Because it is talking about the limitless, it cannot be improved upon, and since it is not reducible to something else, it is not a point of view. While perception is the root pramana, because all other pramanas depend upon it, Shabda is considered to be the last pramana. All others I operate, whereas this one comes from outside. If at all there is any I that has listened to the Shastra, it is only that is imbued with Shraddha. The importance of Shraddha cannot be overestimated. Here in the Gita, Krishna makes a very bold statement about it. Shraddhavan labate jnanam, the one who has Shraddha gains knowledge. And in the Upanishads it is said, Acharyavan Purusho Veda, the person who has a teacher knows. One who has a teacher and who has Shraddha in the teacher and in the Shruti cannot fail to know the truth of Shruti. When the
See, this is typical of this particular understanding.
Hmm.
See, everywhere else, the pramana may be there, the teacher may be there, but still you may not know, because it's all very relative. How much of your intellect, how much you know about the subject matter, that will determine how much you understand. Even though the teacher may be good. Whereas in this particular case, the Shraddhavan labate jnanam, it discounts the person. Karta, the fellow is trying to learn, is kept aside. He is of no consequence. Because we are talking about the reality of the being, which is your reality. The person is only available for Vyavahara thereafter. So, for Vyavahara and for all other pramanas which is handled by the person, he is very important. Otherwise, you will not know science or empiricality or whatever you call it. Whereas, in this particular case, the Karta's qualification, height, weight, age don't matter. What matters is the Shraddha and the Acharya and the teaching. If these things are aligned, the teaching happens. That is why, even at a very advanced stage, this owning up, claiming this reality is possible once you are ready, you are able to keep aside the Karta. That is where Chitta Samadhanam, the alertness and also the space. The Samadhanam means space between you and the mind. Once that is there, the space is there, then this can happen. That is one. That is why it's not meant for youngsters or school-going kids. They should play, they should improve their faculty of thinking and all that. Only when you grow, either you have a real, hang for the truth, you are looking for truth, that may be your personality or whatever, or you get into some hits and knocks, then you find that no, these things are not working, there should be something more about life, then you come to this. So it's only happening generally in the middle age or later age only. Doesn't happen to, actually school-going children and all, it's not up Vedanta. First talk to them values and let them study well, let them play well, let them limbs and mind get logically built up. All those things are important. Later only it happens. Only either you get some hits and knocks in your life or you go for truth. Either way, you can come to this.
When the Vastu and Pramana are both there, with nothing to interfere, as the knowledge emanates from the teacher, it is just absorbed by the student, who is all attention without anxiety or indifference. With a love to know and a deep respect for the source of knowledge, he has everything necessary for knowing. This is Acharya Upasana. Literally, it means sitting with the teacher. Upasana is also a meditation wherein the object is kept in view and one remains always connected to it by Shraddha. Respect and love together is Shraddha. If there is intellectual respect for the teacher's scholarship, but you do not look up to him as a person, or there is love alone and no value for his learning, there is no Shraddha. When there is Shraddha, absorption takes place naturally because the Ahankara does not interfere. To keep the Ahankara suspended, you require Shraddha. And suspending the Ahankara is essential because the whole teaching is meant to falsify the Ahankara through the discovery of its own true nature, Swarupa. This is a catch-22 situation. Unless the Ahankara is suspended, at least for the time being, there is no knowledge, and unless there is knowledge, there is no elimination of the Ahankara. The problem is circumvented completely by introducing Shraddha. That keeps the Ahankara under check so that it does not interfere with the operation of Pramana and knowledge just takes place. Afterwards, you find that the Ahankara is not there in reality, that it is Mithya. What is catch-22 situation, Swamiji?
Catch-22 situation is what he says, unless the Ahankara is suspended, the knowledge does not take place. And unless the knowledge happens, you cannot eliminate Ahankara. That is the sense, one depends on the other. It goes into some reduction to, but that is where there is a slight difference. One is, Ahankara is only suspended. You won't be able to eliminate Ahankara till the time you understand a higher being in you. See, Ahankara, why are you holding on to Ahankara? Because you don't know a person, you, other than the Ahankara, till date. Unless you have got a value for this knowledge, the understanding, you don't think there is a being in you other than the Ahankara.
Yes.
Pretty obvious. So, unless the value for the being has to grow, then Ahankara will reduce.
Yes.
So, till the time the value for the being is understood thoroughly, Ahankara at least can be kept suspended. Okay, so that is where the Shraddha has. Okay, whatever it may be, I have a Shraddha in this teacher, the teacher. It seems to be saying something which is very emancipating for me. Whatever I have done with my Ahankara all these years, even though I know in my heart of heart I have not done any great job, everyone has done it. It is a big deal. I want something more defined in my life, having come into this life. So I got a value for it. This Shraddha, the teacher, and the teaching seems to be saying that. Let us give it a chance. If the Ahankara suspended, go into this teaching. As the teaching and the understanding grows and grows, the Ahankara will diminish. At one point in time, you will know how to handle it. You will handle it only for Vyavahara. Somebody calls you, Kumar, you will go. Only that much value Kumar will have. Beyond that, he will not have. Only for Vyavahara. So that is how it is. It's okay, it's nice actually. It's fun to have that sort of a. Once you have a handle on it, you can easily deal with it. But you get totally identified with it, then instead of dog wagging the tail will wag the dog. That's precisely what is happening in our life.
Yes.
Otherwise,
Yes.
you don't know the reality of how.
And the suspending of Ahankara, I think, in our day-to-day life, sometimes we suspend it and try to overlook others.
Actually, that is why Swamiji always says, Apohanam is a very great Matta Smritirnyanam Apohanancha. We have read already. Matta Smritirnyanam, I don't know. No, it will come in the 15th chapter. Aham Vaishwanaro Bhutva Praninam Deham Asritaha प्राणापानसमायुक्तः पचाम्यन्नं सदुर्वितं सर्वस्य चाहं हृदि सन्निविष्टः मत्तस्मृतिर्ज्ञानमपोहनं च वेदैश्च सर्वैरहमेव वेद्यः वेदान्तकृत्वेदविदेव चाहं. Like that it becomes the 15th chapter. That mattasmritirjnanam apohanancha. Smriti meaning memory. Apohanam is suspension. So forgetting and apohanam is also a vibhuti. Even forgetting is a vibhuti. You must be able to temporarily keep aside, forget. Okay, whatever be the trouble, when I am in the class, I will not be thinking about those things. That is a big vibhuti. You must make use of it. That's what Swamiji will say. So don't worry for elimination of ahankara. Just keep it suspended for the time being when you are in the class, or when you are studying, when you are contemplating, when you are doing meditation, when you are doing prayer. And prayer is always a possibility. Just surrender the whole ahankara to Ishvara. So all these things are techniques. It's all upaya initially. But once the upaya is understood, they become irrelevant. Thereafter, you don't need an upaya. It will automatically get submerged in your life. Not a great impact on your life. It becomes spontaneous. Life becomes spontaneous. You don't have to make an effort.
Yes.
You don't have to struggle to keep the ahankara aside.
Yes.
Because you've got something higher value in life. You are Christian. Purnamada Purnamidam
Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.